Thank you very much. Allow me to share screen if it's okay with you.
Yes, Mr. Chris, you are allowed to share your screen.
Okay, is it visible now? My screen? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Allow me to thank AFA for organizing this webinar. I learned so many things, from the previous speakers. So I am happy for this opportunity. What I would like to share is the experience of our federation in branding. But the experience has nothing to do with the brand that is already out there in the market. But my sharing will be focused on how we develop our brand. As a matter of fact, we are still in the developmental stage in branding. The reality, I would like to start with the reality, what we have. In our conditions in the Philippines, unlike Korea that they have only one agricultural cooperative system, and in fact, they have only one federation. In the case of the Philippines, it is quite different. There is in fact competition already. Not only competition at the national level, but also competition at the local level. And this can be demonstrated by the following realities. Each co-op has its own brand, and therefore, the presence is highly localized. There are so many products, and therefore, there are also many brands. In fact, a local cooperative would insist to have their own brand because they would like to present their identity, and they would like to be known locally. So they love to have an identity. So that's a reality. However, there is less exposure to market outlets. Why? Because it's a small cooperative and the volume is not much. While they have the brand, but it cannot even penetrate a wider market. So there is less exposure. And also they are poorly designed and low quality packaging, then therefore there is no national impact. And beyond that, you cannot expect a global image. For instance, last year we organized a trade fair expedition. And as you see in the picture, there are so many products displayed. And in each product, I tell you, they have their own brand. Then therefore, even the trade fair, there is already competition among ourselves. So that's the reality. Now, what is the business idea? What is our value proposition? What we would like to introduce is that we would like to consolidate all the processed products of the cooperatives in different parts of the country, and we would like to see only one unified brand. For example, in banana chips, so you have Co-op X has its own brand, and you can see that in the picture. You have Co-op Y also into banana chips, and you have Co-op Z also has its own banana chip brand. And in the business idea that we would like to introduce and convince the member cooperatives, For example, we will tell them that we will adopt only one unified brand. And for this purpose, as an example, the brand is Verdelane. And it is crispy, crunchy. And the picture, as you see, very nice. And it is well packaged. What is our branding objective? We would like something that is unified, distinctive, and innovative. And we would like to see branding as value addition for our institution and the products the institution carry that would manifest the collective power of family farmers and attract consumer support. So that's the concept why we are into branding, and we would like to achieve this objective. But I would like to start with a context, because context matters in branding. And the brand represents as to who owns the brand. That means the institution. We are a very new organization. We are only 2 years old. Therefore, we are still a baby. AFA was very instrumental in giving birth to AgriCooPH, our federation. There are 3 things in terms of context. The institution has to be defined in relation to the brand. And we agreed that the acronym of our federation should be AgriCooPH. It so happened that I am the architect or the brain, or so to speak, or the designer of this institutional brand. And there are so many stories in this particular logo. And as you see, a combination of color. Agri, H is green, that represents agriculture. The co-op, because we are cooperatives. The farmer hat, because that's the umbrella. And we can be resilient in relation to disasters. And we are stronger together. That's how it is being described. The other one is that we want a brand, an identity that captures the duality of the character of the organization, being a federated secondary organization and as a collective business enterprise, and how we should be able to capture that in our identity or in our brand. The third is the product, and it has to be unified product that represents the solidarity of various product origins and even in terms of diversity. Now, when we enter into contract with the person who is going to develop or design our brand, we started with this context, and we put across this context so that the consultant or the designer would be able to define what kind of brand that we should have. Our branding strategy, in fact, is positioning. That is unified brand, the connectivity among stakeholders, and a brand that can stand across borders, different geographic interests and culture, anywhere. It is an anywhere brand. And the third aspect is we would like to have a brand by categorizing different products. Where to source the funding? So the board of directors of the federation has appropriated $10,400 and investment $5,200 from the contribution of the federation, and we were able to solicit $5,200 from the sponsor. So we have that budget for this year, and we started the branding process during the last 3 months. Then the second question, who will define and design the brand? So what is critical is the selection of the designer. Who is your designer? What's the background of the designer? What's the interest of the designer? what's the soul behind that. In fact, the designer will be able to capture also the soul of your institution. And this is critical. And we were able to enter into contract with GraphiLink. This is a design studio. And as you see in the presentation, we have the brand identity design and development. And then it includes the specific scope of work, like labeling, packaging, design template. And this includes, in fact, application to several packaging format and materials. And there are also other inclusions like product photography, copywriting, write-ups, layout design, printing supervision. And the budget of this comes from the expense for this comes from that budget, mga around 50%, my estimate. So we drafted the TR, the terms of reference, and then I would like to underscore that AgriCooPh is finding ways to consolidate and promote the products of member cooperatives through common product branding in order to generate market power based on product quality standards. Now, this is the objective of the TOR. I need not to go into details. And then this is the task of the consultant: conceptualization, brand name development, logo design, revisions, refinements. And then the consultant will also prepare the logo manual. And also they will assist us in the compliance of IPO trademark application, like label, packaging template, design development, and even packaging format materials. And also, as I mentioned, other inclusions. And this is stated in the contract. And we have also the timetable, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, up to week 8. And we are now on, where are we now? We are now on the 5th, because we have already gone through the design stage and the selection of the brand stage. Now, choosing the brand, the decision-making process. So at the federation level, we have the branding committee, and then we have the management and the board. At the primary level, you have the branding committee, the management, the board, and ultimately it has to be decided upon the final brand by the General Assembly. Now, I would like to emphasize the fact that AgriCooPh Federation is not into processing product. The processing of product is done by our member cooperatives. So the factory, the processing plant, they are localized. So we don't buy raw materials and we bring it to the factory or to the processing facility in the centralized location. No, that is not the way. So we are looking at each and every cooperative as a factory. So just imagine if this cooperative is into banana chip making. So if there are 20 cooperatives in the banana chip making, then therefore I would assume that I have also 20 factories. But we would like to have only one brand. For this purpose, as I stated a while ago, that it could not create a kind of dominance in the market because the volume is very small. So here the consultant came up with the suggested brand names like AgriMade, AgriOne, AgriGain, Harvest Trade, so many things like Ample Season, something that is sunrise over a green field or farm, a merger of product from different regions. So these were given to us, and we have to decide which of these suggested brand names that have to be developed further. And we have gone through this already. So the designer came up with Birdie Lane. Birdie Lane means Birdie means green, lane is path. That means green path. So the consultant came up with the concept, and this is the concept. If you have the Verdilen and you can package your lettuce, and you can have your basket of vegetables, and you have the guy carrying, a bundled fruit. So that's an example. That's a bindile. So he presented this to us. Then they said, oh, he also come up with co-op for food, like Hans roasted coffee, house blend. But we said, look, can you come up with a concept by representing the product of the cooperative? Because we have a program called Co-op for Food. So he came up with this suggested brand name. So that's it. That's the presentation. This is AgriGain. He said the AgriGain is also something that you can choose. You can see that in the slide. And then at the end of the day, because this was thrown to us for us to make the decision, we decided to have only 3 brands. The first brand is Verdilen, and the Verdilen will be used for processed farm products, but high value products. So anything that is high value products and it is processed, that belongs to the category of Verdilen. If these are fresh farm products, and they can be categorized as co-op for food, fresh, like vegetables. And then AgriGain, that is another category. And under this category, you have all kinds of grains and other grain products like rice, for instance. So we decided with the 3 categorization. So the next level, the consultant came back to us and I said, this is now the final product for Verdilen, and this is how it is being packaged. So you could see the cocoa sugar, and in fact, with the name AgriCooPh as the distributor, and you have also the muscovado. This is under Verdilen. This is also under Verdilen. This is tablia, and you can see also the packaging. But let me tell you, and I would like to emphasize this to you. According to my consultant, he said, if you have 1 kilo of coffee beans and you sell this to the market, and the price of that is only about 300 pesos. But if you package that, and the packaging is not that very attractive, and that coffee, 1 kilo, could command a price of 700 pesos. And the moment you package it very well and it becomes very attractive, and it has an element of a global image or a global identity, an image that can, that's the same as you see exportable products, and it can command a price of 1,000 pesos, according to him. Then therefore, you should not be greedy in terms of investment, because it's not only in the brand that you invest money, but you have also to invest in the packaging. And the packaging must be very, very presentable. So that's Verdilen. And then you have here also Verdilen, because we have member cooperatives which are a processor of calamansi juice. We have one in Samar, we have one in Mindoro, we have one in Mindanao. So we would like to have calamansi juice, but only one product, Verdilen. This is another product. This is virgin coconut oil, and that is, as you see here, that is would be what you will see later on in the market, because this is already more or less closer to final stage. Then this is the premium black rice. And this is the Robusta coffee. And then you have another category for our rice. And our rice will be branded as AgriGain because Filipino rice farmer has always been the loser. They cannot get so much good price. So that's why we said maybe it's good to have a brand called AgriGain so that they will be able to gain. So example, we have here one sack of rice. It's AgriGain and then well-milled rice. But this would still bear the name of AgriCooPH in every bag. Now, this is co-op for food. So we will use co-op for food for vegetables, and you see that in the picture. And then you have the consumer interface. And what we would like to do, we will negotiate with a supermarket, with a mall, that we will be provided with a shelf, and then we can have one person, a merchandiser. And then we will have our products, but under the same name, but produced by different cooperatives. That's the strategy. And then we will hire a person to do this as a merchandiser, a promoter, maybe an advertiser. So we have to invest money in this. This is very interesting thing because in the case of the federation, we are not the ones really processing the product, and the products will be processed by individual cooperatives. I need not to discuss because this has been discussed already about opportunities. So that is my presentation. Thank you very much.